So this is Starpoint Gemini 3. It's an early access game made by a small team. Generally, it's pretty good. The reason I want to talk about it is because it has the most educational opening cutscenes I've seen in quite a while. We can learn a lot by looking at these opening cutscenes because the story concept for Starpoint Gemini 3 is very interesting. It has a lot of meat to it. But the implementation is astonishingly bad. It doesn't matter what your writing skill level is, you can learn a lot by looking at how they did it, because you just don't do it that way. You'll see a lot of things that you are heading towards, and you didn't realize you were getting that bad. Now you know. So we're going to talk about how to put together an opening for a game like this. This is a space laser shoot game, and we're going to talk about how we might put together our own opening scenes, what they should look like, how they should be paced to make the best use of the player's time. I could just hit new game and show you how theirs are structured, but I think we should talk about how to think about it before we actually look at their setup, because otherwise we're just harassing the writers for no particular reason. So, we got our space shoot game, where we're shooting at space shoot stuff. And we want it to have a story of some kind. So what's our story? Well, one of our stories could be like, oh, the space cats are attacking, and now we're in pitched war with space cats. Been done, also kind of war-ish. We don't really want a war game. We want a game where everything is kind of lighthearted and fun. So we come up with a lighthearted scenario. The known stars of this area, they were all owned largely by a guy who is like a multi-quadrillionaire, super genius, hacker, scientist person, and he died recently. All of his children are dead, but he had loads of grandkids, and they're all kicking around. So the idea is that anybody who can get their hands on the grandkids can claim to have a legitimate piece of that fortune, have a legitimate heir to that fortune. So the game is about trying to collect grandkids. At least this is the driving force for the characters. Collect these grandkids so that they can claim the trillions of dollars of this fortune. Now, how can we set this up so that it's fun for the player? We need to have a core concept that allows us to have all sorts of fun plot events with this idea. Well, how about we play as a pirate queen, right? So here's our pirate queen spaceship. And the idea is that we can run around the galaxy collecting idiots and trying to keep them happy while not letting them know that we're actually a pirate queen. We can be an ice-cold straight man. We can be like, we're efficient, we're effective, we're cold-hearted, and we're very cunning. But because we're collecting idiots, we can't be very efficient. All of our cunning goes out the window. And we can't be cold-hearted because they are all really nice puppy-type people. They're just too nice to stay cold at. And so over the course of the game, we can slowly come around to another trajectory where our cold-hearted, overly efficient character learns how to care, if not love. That sounds really cool. If we did it like that, we could have like the game could open with us tricking one of the grandchildren into meeting us, and basically he's a puppy, and we convince him to fall in love with us and just escape with us. And so he comes out in his ship, and we only think of him as a bounty at first. We just have a bounty on him alive, and we're like, okay, we'll get that bounty. So we capture him, and we realize that he's one of the grandkids, and instead of turning him in for the bounty, we can just say, hey, look, our pirate fleet is 100% legit. Yep, yeah, we have a right to every planet in this system because we have one of the grandkids. There you go. That could be a really, really interesting setup. It's really a good way to do it because it's easy to get along with a straight man character. They're effective and efficient, and they get to say all of the things that the player might want to say when things go wrong and things are stupid. If we have a bunch of stupid characters, the straight man can say the same things that the player would say. Like, oh gosh, this guy's an idiot. The player's like, thank you. Finally, someone admits it. It's much harder to have a comedic main character because the player is fundamentally focused on trying to win, and comedy doesn't generally go very well with that. You can do it, it just takes a lot of writing skills. So let's say that we decide we're going to do that, because I'm sure that we have all of the writing skills in the world. So we're playing Captain Bold, who is one of these grandkids, and he is a complete idiot. He's basically that Simpsons version of Kirk. And he has no redeeming features. He's worthless in every way. This is difficult because he's not a likable main character. It's okay if your main character isn't likable but kicks butt, because then the player's like, oh, I can kick butt. And that's cool, and they'll come to like the character. But when your character is supposed to be inept right from the start, they have to luck their way through the plot, and the player is about winning, not about luck. So that means that we're going to have to constantly be like, oh, the player won this fight, but we have to say, no, we're lucking out of it, even though we won. Or the player won this fight, but we have to luck out of it. And that continual barrage of negating all of the player's capabilities is going to really wear down their acceptance of this main character and the story that we're trying to tell. But I'm sure we can handle it. What we'll do is we will give them a straight man backup character, which will be the AI on the spaceship. The AI on the spaceship will be the one that says all of the things that need to be said, and is generally, you know, the grounded character, although obviously they still have comedic flights of fancy from time to time, because that's how comedy games should be. Okay, fine. So how do we set this up? Well, let's do the same thing. Our stupid main character falls in love with a pirate and goes out to meet the pirate in his new, strangely sentient spaceship, and the pirate lady is playing along and then captures us, or tries to. And then we get our combat tutorial where we shoot at various pirate things and then escape. So here's the thing about this. We have to build an emotional core to this scene so that we can feel the characters in it. The most critical thing in your opening scenes is to establish an emotional connection to someone in the scene, presumably the main character. One of the ways to do that is to show them having a positive trait. So what we'll do is we will try to show our main character's love as a positive trait. He loves this pirate queen even though she doesn't deserve it, and is using him. And we can portray that as a positive thing. Loving too much. What a nice thing to do. And then that is the core of our emotional impact for this scene. So we want to focus on that when possible, and show how the main character reacts to getting spurned and attacked and all that jazz. We can build up a nice emotional resonance, even though our character is an idiot. So we would wander into this dangerous part of space, and the ship would go, hey, this is a dangerous part of space. We'd go, yeah, we're meeting my favorite lady, Ravina. And the ship is like, what, you mean Ravina Black? Daughter of... And then the ship gets cut off because it's Ravina Black's turn to talk, and it's much funnier if we don't know who her father is. It's much more lighthearted and has much more impact. It's just better if we never learn who her father is, at least not anytime soon. And it's also funny to cut off the ship while it's talking. And then so Ravina pops in and we're like, my love, it's been forever since I last saw you. And she's like, yeah, we met 3 days ago, my love. And then I'm going to capture you now because you're worth money. And he's like, I don't have any money. And she's like, yeah, but there's a bounty on your head from this lady. And then we get our fight scene and we escape. And that's a pretty nice little setup. That's going to establish that our main character has positive traits. He's not just an idiot. He's an idiot that can love people. There's a lot of things we can do with this to punch it up. For example, in the long run, we could say that our love for Ravina continues to actually be a thing. Like, even though she tried to kill us and capture us, we are under the impression that that is just a misunderstanding, just a temporary setback, and then over the course of the game we could milk that, and we could even bring the pirate character around in the long run. That would be a lot of fun. Moreover, when the pirate character breaks our heart and we have to run away, that would be a good time for the ship AI to start to make itself really known as a sentient or slightly less than sentient being. So we would be flying along after the pirates, after we escape the pirates, and we'd be like, oh no, the love of my life betrayed me, oh. And the ship would be like, reporting some damage. And we'd be like, oh, you're certainly right about that. I have definitely taken some damage. And the ship would be like, we should put in for repairs. And we'd be like, oh, yes, my heart needs repairing. Let's go to a bar. And in this way, we can establish a rapport or a comedic lack of rapport between the ship and the captain. We could try and explain the plot. We could try and explain that we are a grandchild of someone famous, that someone wants to marry us because it would give her legitimacy. We could try and explain what our AI is. We could try and explain, why we're in trouble. We could try and do something really bizarre, like for no reason steal a completely different ship, even though we don't know anything about this ship, so why would we need to change ships? We could try and talk about, like, the nature of corporations. That's all stuff that we can wait on, though. The important thing is this connects us as fast as possible to these characters so that we get a strong feeling for who they are, the kind of universe we're in, not the specific plots. And then we can work out the specific plots more organically as we meet the characters. For example, if we're told, if the pirate ship comes along and is like, hey, yeah, we're taking you captive, and I'm like, well, why is that? Who wants me? And they're like, oh, well, this lady wants you. I think, I think she wants you alive. And we could be like, oh, hell no, not her. But we don't talk about why. And later on, when we meet that lady, we can be like, oh, yeah, she wants to marry us. And that would be the worst thing ever. She just wants me for our name. And then we could even turn that around. And we could be like, no, she's actually the one person in the galaxy that just loves you. Because that's how it works in this kind of story, and you're just an idiot. And that could be fun too, right? It'd be like just misunderstandings that could compile in a fun way. But we can't do that if we explain it all up front. We have to give it time to mature so that we can allow these things to happen. If we try and push it, it's not going to have any emotional resonance, the player's not going to buy into it, and it's going to take a really long time and a lot of talking. Here's an alternative. We could have the player character steal a ship. And then if we want to have the player character have a really strong rapport with the ship AI, what we could do is we could have the character just randomly fight some pirates or something. And they're not Ravina Black or anyone important like that. They're just pirates on a bounty mission. And we don't really hear about why that is. Then we can, after our combat tutorial, land the ship somewhere. And the AI can just steal another ship for us without us telling it to. Like, it'll just say, go get drunk, I'm going to steal us a ship. At this point, we can start to realize that the AI is a really interesting character capable of hopping from ship to ship, and that she has no qualms about stealing for us and doing all this stuff. She doesn't appear to need to take orders or anything like that. And now we have a really cool ship that we can fly around in. That's a cool idea as well, but it's not compatible with our pirate idea, with our important pirates idea, because these are completely different emotional contexts. In this emotional context, we are learning to get along with our ship. We are making connections with our ship, not with Ravina Black or the universe at large. Both of these ideas are pretty good, but they're not going to work if we try and do them at the same time. So we're going to have to settle on which things we want to show. And we don't want to tell anything. Everything should be shown. And if that leaves the player with too little information, that is 100% fine, as long as they are in love with our characters and our world. That is the basic idea when you're writing an intro. You want to make the players fall in love with the characters and the world. And that involves some kind of emotional element that you can really lean into. It doesn't have to be something deep, but it has to be there. In this case, it could be that the main character fell in love with a pirate and is too stupid to realize what that means. That's a fine emotional context for us. Let's go ahead and see how the game did it. I'm just going to let it run with minimal conversation here. Oh, hold on. I better turn up the volume.
Captain Bold?
Yes, I am. What is it, ship?
I have a name, sir.
And moods, apparently. Okay, alright. What is it, Ada?
Yes. Thank you, Captain Bold. Now, I have some doubts regarding our location.
Oh? What kind of doubts?
The worst kind, Captain. The Sea of Sorrow is an uncharted area full of pirates and other assorted scum and villainy.
Precisely who we're looking for. And precisely who we want to join.
We do, sir? Did we vote on that?
Don't be silly, Ada. As if you'd ever vote against your captain.
So I've gone ahead and paused the game. This is the sort of thing that this game does. All of the cutscenes are like this. They are just a tremendous amount of telling. Almost no showing. There is banter at the worst possible times, the most bland possible banter. There's a running joke that was never funny to start with and isn't funny at the 18th time we hear it. And the characters are visually really, really bad. Captain Bold looks like, I don't know, a Terminator? Something wearing a human skin? And Ada doesn't look like anything. She just is a flat screen. So, let's continue. I do want to say one more thing, though. We're hearing Captain Bold's voice through a radio filter. We are Captain Bold. How are we hearing him through a radio feature? This is normally what you would do if you wanted to imply that we were someone else.
As if, Captain.
So here's our little bit of an instruction on how to go places.
We're being hailed, Captain. We've been noticed.
Finally, we can finally just jump straight into the pirate stuff, right? There's no reason to keep talking, is there? We already know everything we're going to know. As soon as we open up with, "My love," we should be pretty clear on the situation.
Of course, Ada. I arranged this rendezvous.
When, sir?
Why? And with whom?
With the most delicious buccaneer you ever laid your eyes on.
But I don't have eyes, sir. I have sensors.
Ravenna Black.
Ravenna Black, sir? The daughter of Corvus Black? The blackest, sir?
Yes, the most charming.
And bloodthirsty.
And beautiful.
Pirate alive?
That she is. Hello, Ravenna, my dear. It is I, Bold.
Jonathan, I half doubted you'd show up.
What? Why is everybody doubting me today?
Where did you meet her, sir? And why are we here?
So much telling.
3 nights ago in a tavern on Lunai. She recognized my qualities right away and asked me to meet her here.
So here's a simple trick. If you find that you are telling rather than showing, just show instead. And I don't mean with a flashback, I mean with a character beat. If he said, "It's been so long since our time on Lune," and she said, "That was 3 days ago," we'd get the same information, but it wouldn't be just someone talking to themselves forever. It would be an actual show moment.
Where are you, my love?
Cloaked, my love. You can never be too careful in my line. Did you come alone?
As if I would share you with anyone, my orchid of the vacuum.
That's a good setup.
Oh, Jonathan. You're more of an airhead than I've been told.
You can say that again. Wait, could you say that again?
Ships, Captain Bold. 3 ships, Captain. 3 pirated ships armed to the teeth.
Be consistent, Ada. If you don't have eyes, they can't have teeth. Ravenna, what's the meaning of this, my love?
Money, my love. I'm sorry to say,
This
but
part I like.
as much as I love you, oh, I love money more.
But I don't have any money.
Huh, that's true.
Jonathan, love, you're made of money.
I am?
He is.
There's a bounty out for you. More money than I ever dreamed about. Somebody wants you, and somebody wants you bad.
That's the end of the good
Somebody
part.
wants me bad? Ooh, did you hear that, Ada?
Miss Ravenna, did you say somebody wants him bad or dead?
Alive, unfortunately. That's why I haven't iced him in that tavern. Now, Jonathan, love, will you make it easy for me and surrender?
Surrender, Jonathan. They have us outgunned. Think of me.
Well, it depends.
Depends on what?
Who is it that wants me?
Some girl, Rosa Stomatina. I think she wants to marry you.
Oh, screw that. No deal.
Captain?
She's filthy rich, Jonathan. It can't be that bad marrying someone that rich.
She only wants me for my name. No deal, Ravenna. We fight.
Be reasonable, Jonathan.
Why
We
is he still
fight.
talking? Alright, so that cutscene is finally over. It should have been literally, I don't know, 1/10 that long? It is not an easy thing to write a cutscene that takes that long and does so little. Hey, ship.
Ada, what the hell is going on? About time.
We are heavily outmatched, sir. May I suggest we run and hide?
Come on, we can take them.
We cannot, sir. It's only a matter of time before we explode.
I like that line.
Ah, fine.
So you can see that this is really scattered. One of the things I like best about this, in quotes, we were just told that we should run and hide. So what's our objective gonna be?
Make this easy and surrender.
Defeat the marked enemies. Obviously, when we say run and hide, what we mean is
Yes!
shoot down
Target
all the
destroyed.
bad guys.
Woohoo! That was a great fight. Wasn't that a great fight, Ship?
So again, this is after the fight. We have a couple of options as to how to make this emotional connection with these characters. The number one thing we have to do is have them have an emotion. Captain Bold apparently is completely unfazed by the fact that the love of his life just tried to off him. He is fine with that, and it shows that he doesn't care at all about his ship either. Okay, interesting choice.
Ada.
Whatever. Okay, wasn't that a great fight, Ada?
Please define great, Captain Bold.
We lost half of everything. Half the shields, half the engines, and half of the supplies.
But none of our spirit.
Yeah, like that's worth anything.
Come on, Ada. We're alive. Shouldn't that count for something?
Technically, Captain, only you are alive.
Debbie Downer.
I'm an autonomous command module, overlaid by a supposedly amusing personality.
You are a sweetheart, Ada. If you were a person, I'd marry you.
And yet you just literally fought to avoid a marriage.
Terrible writing.
Ah, well, that's a long story.
Yeah, but with only half the engines, we have twice the time.
It's not a very interesting story.
Oh my god. Don't lampshade how shit your writing is and then go do 10 times more of it. If it's not an interesting story, don't tell it.
Well, it must be more interesting than this introduction.
You really want to know?
Yeah, if pirates are gonna chase us because of it.
So, one simple change you can make. There's nothing in this scene that is physics. There's no other ships attacking us. There's no things that we are doing in terms of like a character has to make dinner or something. We're just floating along between shots of the characters that are talking. Just put us in control and have it run in the background.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know who Thomas Scott is?
The Thomas Scott? The late Thomas Scott? Big kahuna of Nexus Scientificum? Only the most important person in the whole Gemini system?
The very same. Well, I'm his grandchild.
Ah.
One of his grandchildren, really. There was 16 of us last week.
This is completely unimportant to the current situation and doesn't help the story at all. It is especially unimportant given all of the stuff that happens immediately following this.
An ominous use of the past tense there.
Yeah. Grandfather's death kind of tossed Nexus into a heritage war. Factions within factions within factions, each one trying to secure someone from Scott's bloodline as proof of its legitimacy.
And eliminating those that cannot be secured?
Yep. 9 of my cousins killed. I even liked some of them. The rest are more or less prisoners of the warlords.
And you?
I decided to bolt. Politics are not my game. I borrowed a ship.
Me?
You were the best looking one.
Yeah, before I halved in size. And the girl?
Ravenna?
No, the other one. Rosa?
Oh. Rose is the head of Nexus's hard science division.
Too much
An
telling,
important faction who has no Scott of its own.
no showing.
So she decided to marry you?
So she decided to marry me.
Why?
I might have wooed her a little once, when I was drunk.
Ah. Okay, back to the task, Captain Bold. What's the plan?
I could use a drink.
Yeah, me too. We're running on fumes.
Any place close where we could, refuel? What do the maps say?
We lost them, sir. Irrelevant happened.
Stops!
I have the proximity scanner running. It will let us know when it finds something.
It'll beep?
It'll beep.
It beeped.
Is that a
It
joke?
did indeed. A human-made structure within range, Captain.
Can you get us there?
With my eyes closed, Captain.
The eyes you don't have?
Well, those are very easy to close, sir.
So the idea is that they're trying to establish some camaraderie between these characters, but instead of establishing camaraderie, it just goes on for a really, really long time. We don't have control. If it had been background chatter, maybe that would have been fine. It wasn't. And the stuff is bad. It's not interesting.
Wait, what's that?
That's Sakara Station, Captain Bold. Fuel, a dry dock, everything one could wish for.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
Well, Multiops owns it, which means they'll charge you a heart and soul for even being there.
Oh, please
Won't
tell
they
us.
settle for some spirit?
Please tell us the millions of things we have to know about a corporation. What's a corporation? Can you tell us in detail? The intro's not done yet, which is why we are still playing.
I have an idea, Captain.
I'm all ears.
We'll moor into the dry dock. I'll download myself into the drone, sneak into the best ship I can find, and overtake its controls.
We're going to steal a ship?
No, I am going to steal a ship. You go and get yourself a drink while you wait for my call.
Oh, and Captain,
Yes?
Please, don't woo anyone if you get drunk.
They're almost at the stage where the characters are starting to come together with their camaraderie, but man, it's not there yet, and it has been a long, long time. There's no reason to have this situation aside from wanting to show the player that this kind of play exists. Why would we steal a new ship? We don't know anything about the old ship. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, sure, it was shot up by pirates, but who cares? That's not a reason why we should steal a new ship. Why was this AI aboard that ship? Why does the AI now want to not be aboard that ship? If every AI is capable of doing this, that's a very different kind of universe. It just doesn't work within the framework of the story. Now, maybe if we were hacking the pirate ship, like, oh shoot, we actually did get captured, I'll hack it for us. That would make sense. But that's not what we have.
How's the hunting going, my dear AI companion?
Meet me at the exit ramp. ASAP or sooner.
This doesn't make any sense because it doesn't build his character at all. It would have been far more interesting if he'd been trying to hitting on someone and completely failing when Ada broke in, and then, you know, he would be like, I'm kind of in the middle of something, and the lady's like, no, you're not, and she walks away. That would make the character a lot more interesting.
That sounds promising.
Go!
We don't get to control this. It's just a cutscene. Nice clipping on those guns.
Wow, I have to hand it to you. This is a very nice ship.
We'll admire it later. We have to go.
I believe I forgot to pay for my drink.
Now he's being actively, stunningly obnoxious. This is not how a human behaves. I know that they're trying to be lighthearted, ah ha ha ha. There's no tension. You have to let the tension build first. If you constantly defuse it with just inexplicable banter, it's not going to work.
And I believe that's the least of our problems.
You can see why I went into detail about how we might do it first.
Oh, Ada,
Because this is long.
Yeah?
you sound uncharacteristically exuberant.
I can't help it, Captain Bold, sir. This is a dream ship. The ship I was always meant to be.
Well, I'm happy for you, Ada, but can you please stop the barrel roll? Please?
Thank you.
Any sickness you might have felt was strictly psychosomatic, Captain. The intravehicular gravity pull was unchanged.
Which can't be said for my intratestinal gravity. Oh. Are we safe, Ada?
I was trying to pause it. There we are. So here is another issue. They're trying to make these characters likable by having them banter through things that are completely inconsequential. But they're doing consequential things, and we need that to hit before we can banter.
Safe? Safe from what, Captain?
From the guys this ship belonged to?
From Multi-Ops Corporation? Well, I masked the ship's ID signature, but safe? You must be kidding, Captain.
Must I, Ada?
How much do you know about multi-ops?
I'm just going to take a nap.
I've seen them around. They sell things, buy things, produce things,
Things.
and, other things?
You've led a pretty sheltered life, haven't you, sir?
I guess I have.
If trade is the glue of every society, then multi-ops is the super glue of human society. You can find them wherever there's a buck to be made. And if there is no buck to be made, they're thinking of the way to make it.
Okay.
In other words, they're everywhere, Captain Bold, sir. You can never be entirely safe from them.
Ah, I see. Ada?
Yes, sir.
Why did you steal one of their ships then? Why not a ship of some meager, inconsequential coward?
Because it was so beautiful, sir. So elegant, so swift, so powerful.
I like this
Right.
part of Ada.
Okay, great. We'll get ourselves killed in the most elegant ship you could find. Is that what you're telling me?
Maybe we won't get killed right away, sir.
I feel better already.
I'll hit you so hard you won't need a T-gate.
Yeah, I'm not planning on continuing any further. That's more than enough. So, that is the problem with the opening scenes of this game. The fundamental issues are pretty basic. They just run very deep. In addition to the visuals not working for the characters, we have some serious issues with the choice of topics for the writing. I don't like the setup in terms of who we've chosen as the main character, but even if we do assume that that is supposed to be that way, that is the best way to do it, there are better ways to write these scenes, largely by not writing as much. There is a tremendous flood of telling rather than showing, broken up by a tremendous flood of banter that is some of the most dull banter I have ever read. At no point is there any tension or emotion. That's why I wanted to talk about how you might set it up before we actually saw it in action, because otherwise it would be 25 minutes of cutscenes and me continually pausing it and being like, well, here's this mistake and here's this mistake, and I still did that some. That said, this game is pretty good. It's just that the writing from moment to moment is really rough. And that's something we can learn from. Anyway, I hope this was fun for you.